Right now, somewhere in America, millions of people are sitting exactly where you are, exhausted, frustrated, and completely confused. They went to bed early, they slept a full 8 hours. Some of them even slept 9 or 10, and they woke up feeling like they never slept at all. If that sounds like you, I need you to stay with me through this entire video. Because what I'm about to share with you is not what your doctor told you, it's not what Google told you, and it's definitely not another drink more water tip. This is the real, science-backed reason your body is exhausted no matter what you do. And more importantly, exactly how to fix it. Let's start with a number that should scare you a little. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, more than 70 million Americans suffer from chronic sleep disorders and fatigue-related conditions. 70 million. That's almost 1 in every 5 people walking around this country completely running on empty. And the frightening part, most of them think they're just not morning people, or they're getting older, or they're just stressed. But here's what the science actually says. Fatigue that doesn't go away with sleep is almost never about sleep itself. It is a symptom. It is your body sending you an urgent signal that something deeper is wrong. And if you keep ignoring it, the consequences go far beyond just feeling tired. We're talking about weakened immune function, hormonal imbalance, increased risk of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, depression, and even early cognitive decline. Chronic fatigue is not a lifestyle inconvenience. It is a health emergency hiding in plain sight. Now I want to completely reframe the way you think about sleep, because the entire conversation about fatigue in this country is focused on the wrong thing. Every article, every doctor, every wellness influencer tells you the same thing. Get 8 hours of sleep. But here's the question nobody is asking. What kind of sleep are you getting during those 8 hours? Your sleep is divided into cycles. Each cycle lasts about 90 minutes and contains different stages: light sleep, deep sleep, and REM sleep. Deep sleep is where your body repairs tissue, balances hormones, strengthens your immune system, and restores physical energy. REM sleep is where your brain processes emotions, consolidates memories, and restores mental energy. If you are not getting enough deep sleep and REM sleep, it does not matter if you sleep for 12 hours straight. You will wake up exhausted. A landmark study published in the journal Sleep Medicine found that people who reported 8 hours of sleep but had disrupted sleep architecture, meaning poor deep sleep and REM cycles, experienced the same level of cognitive impairment and fatigue as people who only slept 4 hours. Read that again. 8 hours of broken sleep equals 4 hours of no sleep in terms of how your body actually recovers. So the real question is not, how long am I sleeping? The real question is, why is my body not reaching deep restorative sleep? And there are 7 specific reasons this happens. Let's go through every single one. 2. The 7 hidden causes of chronic fatigue. The first cause is cortisol dysregulation. Cortisol is the hormone your body produces in response to stress. In a healthy person, cortisol is highest in the morning. It's what wakes you up and makes you feel alert. And it drops to its lowest point at night, allowing melatonin to rise and sleep to happen naturally. But here's what chronic stress does. It keeps your cortisol elevated all day and all night. Your nervous system stays in a low-level state of fight or flight even when you're lying in bed. Your brain never fully powers down. You technically fall asleep, but you never reach the deep restorative stages because your body thinks it's still in danger. A study from the National Institutes of Health found that people with elevated evening cortisol spent significantly less time in deep sleep and woke up with higher fatigue scores regardless of total sleep time. The fix for this is not a sleeping pill. The fix is cortisol regulation, and we'll talk about exactly how to do that. The second cause is magnesium deficiency. This one is enormous and almost completely ignored by mainstream medicine. Magnesium is involved in over 300 biochemical reactions in the human body. It regulates muscle and nerve function, blood sugar levels, blood pressure, and critically, it is the key mineral required for your brain to produce GABA, which is the neurotransmitter responsible for calming your nervous system and initiating deep sleep. Research published in the Journal of Research in Medical Sciences found that magnesium supplementation significantly improved sleep quality, sleep time, and morning cortisol levels in adults. Here's the frightening part. The USDA estimates that approximately 68% of Americans do not consume adequate magnesium from their diet. If your brain cannot produce enough GABA because you are low in magnesium, you will never reach deep sleep. Your body literally cannot do it. You are chemically unable to sleep deeply without this mineral. The third cause is blood sugar instability. This is one of the most overlooked causes of nighttime waking and morning fatigue in the entire country. Here's what happens. You eat dinner, maybe some pasta, bread, dessert, or a late-night snack that has sugar or refined carbohydrates in it. Your blood sugar spikes. Your pancreas releases insulin to bring it back down. But here's the problem. Several hours later, around 2 or 3 in the morning, your blood sugar crashes, and when blood sugar drops too low while you're sleeping, your body releases adrenaline as an emergency response to raise it back up. Adrenaline, while you're sleeping. That adrenaline surge is exactly why millions of Americans wake up at 3 a.m. with their heart pounding, feeling anxious, unable to fall back asleep, and then they drag themselves through the next day running on stress hormones instead of real energy. A study from Stanford University linked nocturnal hypoglycemia, nighttime blood sugar drops, to fragmented sleep and daytime fatigue in non-diabetic adults. You don't have to be diabetic for your blood sugar to be sabotaging your sleep every single night. The fourth cause is thyroid dysfunction. Your thyroid gland sits at the base of your neck and it controls the speed of nearly every metabolic process in your body. Your heart rate, your body temperature, your digestion, your energy production. When your thyroid is underactive, a condition called hypothyroidism, your body's metabolism slows down significantly. Everything becomes sluggish. You feel cold, heavy, mentally foggy, and completely exhausted no matter how much you sleep. The American Thyroid Association estimates that 20 million Americans have some form of thyroid disease, and up to 60% of them are completely unaware of it. Subclinical hypothyroidism, where your thyroid is underperforming but not yet at a level that standard blood tests flag as abnormal, can cause significant fatigue for years before it gets diagnosed. If you are chronically tired, cold all the time, gaining weight without explanation, and losing hair, please get a full thyroid panel including T3, T4, and TSH from your doctor. The fifth cause is iron deficiency anemia. Iron is what your red blood cells use to carry oxygen to every cell in your body. When you don't have enough iron, your cells are literally oxygen-starved. They cannot produce energy efficiently. Your muscles feel weak, your brain feels foggy, and your entire body feels like it's running on 20% battery all day every day. Iron deficiency is the most common nutritional deficiency in the United States, and it is disproportionately common in women, especially women of reproductive age. A study from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that even mild iron deficiency, YCPRAL, without full-blown anemia, caused significant reductions in energy, endurance, and cognitive performance. The terrifying part is that many people with iron deficiency have completely normal energy levels when they're sedentary. It's only when they try to do anything physically or mentally demanding that they crash hard. Sound familiar? The sixth cause is sleep apnea and airway obstruction. This one is critically underdiagnosed. Sleep apnea is a condition where your airway partially or fully closes during sleep, causing you to stop breathing for seconds at a time, sometimes hundreds of times per night. Every time this happens, your brain jolts you out of deep sleep just enough to restart your breathing. You never actually wake up. You have no memory of it happening. But by morning, your body has been jerked out of deep sleep so many times that you are completely unrestored. The American Academy of Sleep Medicine estimates that 30 million Americans have sleep apnea and that 80% of them are undiagnosed. It's not just a problem for overweight middle-aged men. It affects women, young adults, and even children. If you snore, if your partner says you stop breathing during sleep, if you wake up with headaches, if you feel exhausted after a full night of sleep, please talk to your doctor about a sleep study. Sleep apnea is treatable, and treating it can be completely life-changing. The seventh cause is chronic inflammation. This is the one that ties everything together. Inflammation is your immune system's response to threats, injury, infection, stress, toxins. In the short term, it's protective. In the long term, it becomes the root cause of almost every chronic disease known to medicine, including chronic fatigue. When your body is in a state of chronic low-grade inflammation, it is constantly running an immune response. That immune response consumes enormous amounts of energy. Your body is fighting a war you can't see, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Research published in the journal Neuropsychopharmacology found a direct link between elevated inflammatory markers like C-reactive protein and interleukin-6 with chronic fatigue, disrupted sleep architecture, and depression. The biggest drivers of chronic inflammation in America are processed food, refined sugar, seed oils, chronic stress, poor gut health, and sedentary lifestyle. The complete solution plan. Now let's talk about what you actually do about all of this. Because information without action is worthless. The first and most important thing you can do starting tonight is to stabilize your blood sugar before bed. Stop eating carbohydrates or sugar within 2 hours of sleeping. If you need a late snack, make it protein and healthy fat. A handful of almonds, some turkey slices, a boiled egg. This prevents the 3 a.m. blood sugar crash and the adrenaline surge that is quietly destroying your sleep every night. The second thing is to start taking magnesium glycinate, not magnesium oxide, which is poorly absorbed. Magnesium glycinate, 300 to 400 milligrams, taken 30 to 60 minutes before bed. This is not a sleeping pill. It is giving your brain the raw material it needs to produce GABA and shift your nervous system into genuine rest mode. The difference most people feel within the first week is remarkable. The third thing is to fix your cortisol rhythm. This starts in the morning, not at night. When you wake up, get outside and expose your eyes to natural sunlight within the first 30 minutes. This is not optional. It is the single most powerful signal you can send to your circadian clock to normalize cortisol and melatonin timing. Andrew Huberman's neuroscience research at Stanford has shown that morning sunlight exposure is the most effective free tool available for regulating your sleep-wake cycle. At night, dim your lights, put away screens 1 hour before bed, and consider adaptogenic herbs like ashwagandha, which has been clinically shown to reduce cortisol levels by up to 27% in peer-reviewed studies. The fourth thing is to get proper blood work done. Ask your doctor for a full panel that includes ferritin and iron levels, a complete thyroid panel including free T3 and free T4, vitamin D levels, B12 levels, and a CBC to check for anemia. Many people have been suffering for years from conditions that a simple blood test would have caught and fixed. Don't guess. Get the data. The fifth thing is to address inflammation through your diet. This does not mean a complicated diet. It means removing the 3 biggest inflammatory foods from your daily routine. Refined sugar, processed seed oils like vegetable oil and canola oil, and ultra-processed packaged foods. Replace them with anti-inflammatory foods, fatty fish like salmon and sardines, leafy greens, berries, olive oil, turmeric, and ginger. Studies from Harvard Medical School have consistently shown that a Mediterranean-style anti-inflammatory diet reduces inflammatory markers, improves sleep quality, and significantly boosts daytime energy levels within 4 to 6 weeks. Lifestyle factors most people ignore. Beyond the physical causes, there are behavioral patterns that most exhausted Americans don't even recognize as problems. The first is what scientists call social jet lag. This is when your sleep schedule on weekends is dramatically different from your weekdays. You stay up until 1 a.m. on Friday and Saturday and sleep until 10 a.m., and then you try to get up at 6 a.m. on Monday. That shift is the equivalent of flying from New York to Los Angeles and back every single weekend. Your circadian rhythm gets completely destabilized, and you spend the entire week trying to recover from your own weekend. Research from the University of Munich found that social jet lag is associated with increased fatigue, worse mood, lower academic and work performance, and higher rates of metabolic disease. The fix is simple but not easy. Keep your sleep and wake times consistent within a 1-hour window, even on weekends. The second ignored factor is over-reliance on caffeine. Coffee is not inherently the problem. Caffeine is a drug, and like any drug, dosage and timing matter enormously. Caffeine works by blocking adenosine receptors in your brain. Adenosine is the sleep pressure chemical that builds up throughout the day and makes you feel sleepy at night. When you drink coffee, you don't eliminate tiredness. You just block your brain from feeling it temporarily. The adenosine keeps building up behind the caffeine blockade, and when the caffeine wears off, usually in the early afternoon, that adenosine flood hits your brain all at once, which is why you feel a sudden crash. More importantly, caffeine has a half-life of 5 to 6 hours in most adults. A cup of coffee at 2 p.m. still has half its caffeine in your system at 8 p.m., which means it is disrupting your ability to fall into deep sleep even if you have no trouble falling asleep. Cut off all caffeine by noon and watch your sleep quality transform within days. The third factor is physical inactivity. Your body was designed to move. Exercise, particularly aerobic exercise, is one of the most powerful sleep-improving interventions ever studied. A meta-analysis published in the journal Mental Health and Physical Activity found that regular exercise reduced insomnia symptoms, improved sleep quality, decreased time to fall asleep, and reduced daytime fatigue more effectively than some sleep medications. You don't need a gym membership. A 30-minute walk every single day is enough to begin significantly improving your sleep architecture within 2 to 3 weeks. The emotional side of fatigue. There is one more dimension of chronic fatigue that almost never gets discussed, and that is the emotional and psychological component. Chronic fatigue is deeply connected to anxiety and depression. And here's what makes it so insidious. Fatigue causes anxiety, and anxiety causes fatigue. Poor sleep worsens depression, and depression worsens sleep. It becomes a self-reinforcing cycle that can feel completely impossible to escape. If you are exhausted, struggling to find motivation, feeling emotionally flat, losing interest in things you used to enjoy, and waking up every day with a sense of dread, please do not dismiss this as just being tired. These are signs that your nervous system and brain chemistry need support. Talk to someone, whether that's a therapist, a trusted doctor, or even a close friend. The mental and emotional load that millions of Americans are carrying silently is one of the biggest contributors to the chronic fatigue epidemic in this country. You cannot supplement your way out of burnout. You cannot biohack your way out of unprocessed grief or suppressed stress. Real recovery requires addressing the whole person, body, brain, and emotional health together. So let's bring this all together. You are tired not because you are weak, not because you are lazy, and not because you simply need more sleep. You are tired because your body is dealing with one or more of 7 specific, identifiable, and fixable problems. Cortisol dysregulation, magnesium deficiency, blood sugar instability, thyroid dysfunction, iron deficiency, sleep apnea, and chronic inflammation. Every single one of these has a solution. None of them require expensive medications or complicated protocols. They require knowledge, the right tests, a few targeted supplements, and some consistent daily habits that work with your biology instead of against it. Start tonight. Stabilize your blood sugar before bed. Take your magnesium, get sunlight tomorrow morning, and book that blood work appointment this week. If this video gave you clarity, if it made something click that has been confusing you for months or years, please share it with someone you know who is exhausted. Because the person watching this right now is probably not the only one in their life who needs to hear it. Like this video, subscribe for more evidence-based health content.